Expecting a bullet to slam into her at any moment, she felt for a pulse. Brandon Hayes heard the gunfire through the open window of his third-floor part-time office at Finding the Lost and automatically reached for his weapon as he spun in his chair. A police detective by profession and a Finding the Lost employee on his days off, he didn't have a lot of downtime. Nor did he want any. The Glock felt natural and comfortable in his right hand. He stepped to the side of the window and looked out. Chaos reigned in the park below. 2 people lay on the ground and appeared to be injured. Erica James, his sister and founder of Finding the Lost, bolted into the office.
"What was that?" "Bullets. There's a shooter nearby and people are hurt."
She pulled out her cell phone. Someone's probably already called, but... Brandon heard her reporting the incident to the 911 operator as he tried to pinpoint the location where the bullets originated from. His gaze shifted from the horror below him to the building beside him. Nothing. Not a flash, no movement, nothing. He grabbed the phone from his desk. Rachel, his cousin and secretary for Finding the Lost, picked up.
"Get this building locked down now."
"I already did. I heard you say something about bullets fired and immediately called security."
"Good."
Her office was just outside of his. He returned to the window and watched the craziness unfold in the park, assessing the situation, planning the best way to help. Go after the shooter or help the victims. Movement by the fountain caught his eye. A woman trying to pull one of the injured ones to safety. Wait a minute.
"Hey, isn't that Sonya Daniels? What's she trying to do? Get herself killed?"
He raced from the office, Erica's protests ringing in his ears.
"Stay here!"
Brandon hit the glass door, swiped his card that would allow him to exit, but would lock the door behind him. Then he was on the sidewalk. Within seconds, he was at the park. Police officers who'd been nearby started to arrive on the scene. To the nearest one, Brandon flashed his badge and yelled,
"I think the shooter was in the building next to the bank."
Law enforcement now swarmed the area, and he kept his badge in plain sight. He stuck his weapon back in the shoulder holster and headed for the fountain. Sonya Daniels had shown up at Finding the Lost a little over a week ago with a birth certificate for Heather Bradley. She'd hired him to find the person, and now she was rescuing joggers in the park. His heart thudded as he kept his attention tuned to the area around him. No more shots sounded. He hoped that meant the shooter was on the run and not aiming at any more innocent people. Brandon rounded the back of the fountain and found Sonya doing CPR on the woman she'd pulled out of harm's way. He dropped beside her.
"What can I do?"
Surprise and relief flickered across her face when she saw him. "She needs an ambulance. Her heart stopped." Sonya did more compressions. "Feel for a pulse." Brandon did as ordered. He looked up and shook his head. Sonya gave a growl of frustration and slammed a fist onto the woman's chest. "Beat!" She pressed and released, unrelenting and breathless, with determination etched on her features. Brandon felt a faint flutter against his fingers.
"Keep going. I think I felt something."
Hope blazed in her eyes as she continued her efforts. "Come on, please, please." An ambulance pulled up next to the fountain and 2 paramedics rushed over. Sonya looked up. "I think she has a pulse now. She coded about 30 seconds ago." "You have medical training?" the first paramedic asked as she dropped beside Sonya. "Yes, 1 semester short of being a doctor." Brandon shot her a look. He hadn't known that. He moved aside as the other paramedic joined them. Sonya fell back out of the way and let them take over. He grasped her arm. More medical help surrounded the other woman. "She's dead," Sonya whispered to him. "The bullet went straight through her head." Grief coated her words. "The one I was helping was shot in the back. Please let her make it, God." Brandon wondered if she even realized she'd whispered her prayer aloud. He hoped God listened to her more than he seemed to hear Brandon's prayers. He watched the officers doing their job and knew Sonya needed to give a statement, but for now he needed to get her someplace where she could sit and let the adrenaline...